Hello, welcome to episode 123 of Green Herb Gaming. I am Resident Evil 7. I cannot wait for the new DLC to be released. I want to see Chris Redfield. I want to see what the hell he is up to. He's working for the Umbrella Corporation, and what the hell? I mean, what is that about? The Umbrella Corporation? Man, the Umbrella Corporation is Chris Redfield's arch nemesis. So I want to see what that's all about. That will all be explained in the Not a Hero DLC. That will all be focusing on Chris Redfield's story, because spoiler alert, at the end of the main game in Resident Evil 7, your main character Ethan Winters gets saved by Chris Redfield and in a helicopter. The helicopter flies off, and you see on the side of the helicopter a big massive logo that says the Umbrella Corporation. Quick reminder for people: the Umbrella Corporation is the evil pharmaceutical company that created the T-virus in the first place, that eventually created bioterrorism as a result. So I'm really wondering what the hell is Chris Redfield doing in an Umbrella Corporation helicopter. With the recent trailer that Capcom released for the DLC, you pretty much get confirmation that Chris Redfield is in fact working for the Umbrella Corporation. I cannot wait to see what that's about. More than anything else, I know he's going to be face to face with Lucas Baker. That should be an interesting showdown, and everything else that goes along with it. But more than anything else, I just want to find out, why is Chris Redfield working with the Umbrella Corporation? There's a couple of more DLC as well. There is the End of Zoe DLC, because again, spoiler alert, at the end of the game you choose who you want to save. You either save your viewer who has just tuned in this exact second. Thank you for tuning in. I really hope you enjoy. I'm playing Resident Evil 7. I'm looking forward to. I cannot wait for the new DLC to get released for this game. So I'm hyping myself up for that DLC. I'm just talking a little bit about some of that DLC that will be released in December, sometime in December. I forget the exact date now. But yeah, the End of Zoe DLC will show you the fate of Zoe at the end of the game, because at the end of the main game you have to choose to either save your wife Mia Winters or Zoe Baker, who has pretty much helped you throughout the whole game. Now the canon ending, which is the official ending, Capcom have went with that you save Mia Winters, your wife, and Zoe is left behind, still infected. So at the end of Zoe DLC will explain what exactly happened to Zoe. And there's a new character as well, and he is heavily rumoured. It's actually more or less obvious really that he is part of the Baker family, but he seems to be good. He doesn't seem to be infected by the virus that every other member of the Baker family are infected with. So he got a new character as well, and he's trying to save Zoe Baker. So yeah, the Not a Hero DLC, which centres around Chris Redfield going after Lucas Baker for the Umbrella Corporation, which I just cannot get my head around at all. So I am looking forward to that now, to tell you the truth. So yeah, I am waiting for the DLC. So while I wait, and I'm not going to be sitting here on the stream from now until December, obviously. Jesus Christ. But yeah, nonetheless, I am going to play some Resident Evil 7 right now to get myself hyped up for the upcoming DLC. I wasn't too sure what to do. I mean, I'm after playing the main game and completing it a lot, so I kind of didn't want to do that. The DLC, however, is a bit short and it's a bit to the point, so that's not too much of a commitment, really. I'm thinking of starting off with Daughters, because that's essentially it's like a prequel DLC, really. It's the events leading up to the main game. Experience the beginning of the Baker's tragic story. I actually did a stream on this a couple of weeks back, really. So I'm kind of repeating myself here, but yeah, the Baker family, they do indeed have a tragic story. The Baker family they're what you would call the main villains of the game, but that's not entirely true. Like it's more deeper than that, because the Baker family are not insane. They're not crazy. They're not evil. They're not your typical Texas Chainsaw Massacre, crazy, fucking, sorry for cursing, because I have to bear in mind that they are probably younger people watching my streams, and I don't take that into consideration sometimes, so my apologies. But they're not your typical, redneck crazies, okay? I'm not saying all rednecks are crazies, by the way. I'm just saying that your typical, Texas Chainsaw Massacre type family. The Baker family, they get infected, okay? They get infected, by a bioweapon. A very complex bioweapon, which you will see in this DLC, because there's no point in me talking about the entirety of the DLC. I'll let the DLC explain it for itself. So to set up this, little bit, I'm not going to go too much into detail, but just to set up the scene. Baker family are like any other family. They're like your family, my family, your neighbor. They're your average family, and they're just, they're just sitting around. The mother is making dinner. The son is sitting down browsing his phone. Oh, I got a comment. I feel famous now. Let me just check my comment. So yeah, while I'm checking my comment, they're your average family. There was a storm recently, and the father is kind of like, go away, will ya, spam mafia addict, go away. Okay, let me just read out this bullshit, okay? If anyone watching, let me just read out this goddamn bullshit. Mafia addict. Join mafiaaddict.com and create the most respected mafia in the world. Build your own mafia empire, start a family, and become the very best mafia addict.com. Doesn't make any sense. Copy and paste. No. Get the hell out of here with your spam, okay? Nobody cares about your goddamn spam, mafia addict. Okay, so yeah, your average family, the Baker family, so I keep stressing that when I talk about the game and I talk about the Baker family to people, I always stress the fact that they're not your, like, they're not even bad, like, it's, you'll see for yourself. So let's play Daughters. Rainstorm at the Baker farm. 3 years ago, the Bakers were like any other family. They had just finished a family dinner, listening to the raindrops hammering against the window panes as they ate. A moment of peace and quiet, their last for some time. I actually did this already in a previous stream, so it kind of feels weird repeating myself, but well. I will try not to make it an exact repeat, like. So yeah, there's currently a storm in the area where the Baker families live, and it all starts really when the father, Jack Baker, takes in a young girl who was washed up in a ship that was that a ship that got washed up in the storm. Jack Baker, the father, the father and husband, he finds this young girl who was washed up in the ship, and takes him into the house, and gives her warm clothes and tries to look after her. But well, everything goes to shit from that point onwards. I was reading that last night spent breaking news.
Today's top news. Record-breaking rainfall from this week's hurricane looking to come to a close tomorrow morning as the storm moves on. Out in the Gulf, reports of a missing ship have rescue crews combing the coast. We'll have the details on that search shortly. But first, record rain over the past few days has left many residents in some of the parishes knee-deep in floodwaters. On radar, we can see the system moving along to the northeast, losing strength as it goes. And by tomorrow morning, we should be home.
Any news on the damage from the storm?
Here
They haven't said.
Marguerite, open up. Find another.
And here she is.
Oh, she's so young.
Yeah, how's our other guests?
Sleeping, poor thing.
Well, I say let them. We'll be okay here for a few days. At least while till we can get them into town.
Zoe, go get some fresh clothes from the laundry room, okay? Oh, looks like there's some sort of oil spill or something.
Yes.
Let's get this poor girl some fresh clothes and into a warm bed. We'll put her in Lucas's old room.
Oh, come on. Can't you put her somewhere else?
Oh, Lucas, you just hush. You long outgrown that room. Always wanted to run a bed and breakfast.
Got your big break, didn't you? Get her to bed. I'll put some soup on. Good enough for soup, don't you think? Excuse me, Lucas.
Okay, the first thing I'm going to do, because I've played this DLC a few times now, so I know what to do. You've got to get a code, which is 1019. That code is very useful. It's Lucas's password for, I don't know, his social media, 1019. I'm going to need that code. So as you saw, this young girl has got washed up in the ship as a result of the storm. Actually, that's not necessarily true, actually. Although the storm did play a part, but that's not necessarily true. God, I feel like I'm giving out too much information here, like that needs to be given out. Why do we always make everything so complicated? One of the many mysteries of my life, I make things so complicated, don't I? Anyway, so basically, as you saw, this young girl, she got washed up on this ship. So Jack Baker, who is the father and husband of the Baker family, takes her into the home, and we are in the process of looking after this girl. But this girl is the cause of the Baker family's troubles. This is Lucas Baker. He is the son. I, of course, am playing as Zoe Baker, the daughter, and this is Margaret
Hurry up
Baker.
and get her some clothes before she gets that shit all over my old room.
There's a change of clothes in the laundry room, dear.
Lucas Baker is a very polite gentleman. Not. So I'm going to get some dry clothes for the girl. I'm not going to bother reading some of these documents because not all of them are important, really. I'm going to try to. I'm probably, I don't know, maybe I'll play a couple of modes because I'll be honest with you, this stream was like just a random kind of choice. I was like, oh, I'll do a stream. Didn't really think much about it. I'm planning on actually heading out in a second, so. Well, obviously not a second because I'm going to have to finish this, but. Yeah, some of my streams I just don't put a lot of thought into them. They just happen, you know. It's like, let's just make a stream, you know. let's just make a stream. I'll try to make it as interesting as possible anyway, but you know what I like about this particular DLC is how you get to see the Baker family go from this normal, caring, loving family, with the exception of Lucas Baker, of course. But we all have that one person in our family, don't we? But it's just interesting. Look at Jack Baker.
Honey, please get her cleaned up and into some dry clothes. I need to check on the boathouse. It's half on the water last I looked.
Yes, Daddy.
Jack Baker is the father and husband of the Baker family, and you know he's caring for this young child. He's gonna check the boathouse to see if it's been damaged. You know, so you've got this caring man, this caring father, this caring husband. And, you know, Margaret Baker, the mother and husband, or mother and wife, is downstairs making some soup. And everything is normal, but you know, this young girl lying in that bed is anything but normal, and this is where everything changes for the Baker family. And you know, this is why I wanted to say earlier that they're not actually crazy. Like you can, like they're not crazy, they're not insane, they're not evil, they're not bad people. You know, just something is up with this girl, and she changes everything for the Baker family, which we're going to see right now.
All right, little girl, let's get you cleaned up.
They're mine now.
What?
So that right there is anything but normal. So that is not normal at all. This young girl who Jack Baker brought into the home,
Is the power out?
after being washed up in the ship,
Was there
you
a
know,
lightning strike?
turns to me and lights go out, she runs off, an evil laugh. Yeah, that's not good. That is not good at all. Yeah, so, oh, I think I might have made a slight mistake actually. Slight mistake. But I think we can fix it. Because I need to get a lockpick.
Where'd that little girl get to? What was that?
See, these are the earliest moments of the Baker family's demise. And it is a demise, it's 100% demise. I wonder, can I do this now or is it too late?
Hello?
Oh, Jesus.
Where'd everybody go?
Where'd everybody go? What was the lockpick again? You know what would be a cool idea for a game? And I'm sure there's probably one or two games like it out there, but I like a game that is completely unpredictable. You know, I'm after playing through this particular part of the game many times, so I know what to expect. Like, I know what's going to happen. You know, there's going to be a couple of jump scares in this game, and I know where they all are. And I'm not going to say that I don't get scared maybe a second or third time, but I know where they are, and I've experienced the jump scares before. So imagine somebody created a horror game that is completely unpredictable. Like, the jump scares are completely random and different every single time. Now, that would obviously be a very difficult project. Like, it's very ambitious. But, like, I'm not a game developer. I wish I fucking was. Sorry for cursing again. But, like, I'm sure there's many more intelligent people than me, like, who would be able to make that happen. But I just think that would be absolutely fantastic if somebody managed to create, like, imagine, like, as I was saying, I'm after playing through this game numerous times, okay, so I know what to expect. So imagine if I'm just turning this corner, like, I'm like, there's nothing wrong, everything is okay, and then the next minute, like, this monster just jumps over the corner and just kills me. Like, just imagine how random that would be. Like, oh, I'm just thinking I have to use. Is she inside here? She is, isn't she? Yeah. Oh God.
Mama, is that you? Zoe, come look. Come see her gift. Look at all the pretties my little girl is giving.
Oh, that is disgusting as always.
Kiss me, lover.
Get to the garage! Get to the garage! Go now!
I hope I can go back in there later. Because I need to get a switch that can be combined with one of Lucas Baker's trophies that will open the attic. I'll be able to put in the code 1019, find out where a hidden item is, which will allow me to get the best ending. It's pretty short, like it's not a full-on game, it's just a bit of DLC really. I keep going the wrong way. I'm getting it, sorry. Oh, I just think that would be so great though if there was a horror game that was just completely randomly generated, like, so every time you play the game you got a different experience. I mean, how cool would that be? Like,
What the hell is going on?
sorry, I completely ignored the main game. So as you can see, like, something is not right. Like, ever since that girl came into the house, things have not been right. I mean, insects coming out of Margaret Baker's mouth.
I'm on my way, Daddy.
I've completely walked past the fact that I was going to show you now. Lucas Baker. I don't give a shit about Lucas Baker, but he's been knocked unconscious as well. Yep. Poor Lucas. Actually, Lucas is the main villain in the game, actually. I'll tell you more about that in a second. But he is the main villain in the game. Just like how Wesker is the main villain in Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil Code Veronica, and Resident Evil 4. If you look into the story as much as, you know, I do. Now look at how things have changed.
Stop it!
Don't worry. It's a whole lot worse than it looks. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Man, we're pretty fucking close to meeting him right now. She wants me to do this. I have to show her how to hold it. She wants us all to show her our love.
Daddy!
You don't want to disappoint her now, do you? We can't do that.
What are you talking about?
Your new sister, Eve.
So now what you're looking back at is, you know, like you would say, oh my God, you know, this guy is crazy. But it's not as simple as that, you know. It's not as oh shit, what's happening? It's not as easy as that. Like, it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3. Everyone's crazy. Oh shit, I'm gonna be getting lost. Oh fuck, this happened the last time too. I'm not. Oh shit! Where's the fork? Ah, bollocks. He's gonna kill me. I'm dead. Oh, it's in here, isn't it?
Stop it!
He's gonna get me. Oh shit. Pop away, man. Pop away. He's inside. Oh fuck. He's inside.
I ain't got time for this.
Oh, that was close. Christ, that was close. It was too close for comfort, really. Whew. So what you're witnessing right now is the demise of the Baker family. They've been infected, okay? They've been infected. And as you might have guessed by now, they were infected by that young girl because that young girl is not a young girl. She is a girl, but she's a biological weapon at the same time. Basically, there's this fungus that was discovered at some part of the world. Hasn't been confirmed where. And the genome fungus, probably advanced fungus as well, okay, a very advanced form of a fungus. The genome, which contains all of the cells of an organism, here's me now getting all intelligent. Okay, so the genome of this fungus was injected into an embryo. Okay, an embryo. And as a result, a biological weapon that took. Sorry, 2 seconds now. I gotta go into the bathroom and. Oh, don't tell me it's locked. Shit. No way. Oh no, it's fine. Thought that was the bathroom back there. So, a biological weapon was designed to take the appearance of a 10-year-old girl. The reason for that is the biological weapon and the fungus that it can emit is, okay, it's capable, when it infects a human being, it is capable of ultimately taking full control of the host's mind and body, therefore having complete control over the host's actions and even the way they think, full control over their mind and body. And how the infection starts is the biological weapon. By the way, she's called Evelyn, E001. That is the name of the biological weapon, Evelyn. Oh crap. I have to restart this because I can't go back into that room. I don't think I can ever go back into that room. Maybe I can, I don't know. I don't think I can. I'll see what happens, but I don't think I can go back into that room. No, I can't. I'm going to have to restart it, I think. Sorry. Happened as well the last time. Oh, God, you know. Bollocks anyway. I'm not going to fucking start that from the start now. Like, I have the patience. My streams are getting very weird lately. The last stream I did, I was playing Wolfenstein 2, The New Order. And my headset was just acting up, so I just ended that like 10 minutes in. You know what? I'd much rather just talk about Resident Evil. Is that alright? Would that be okay with everyone if I just sat here and talked about Resident Evil 7? So, yeah, so as I was saying, okay, let me just go back to the beginning. All the way back to the beginning. So, you know, the average gamer, the average person who looks at Resident Evil 7, and when they look at the Baker family, and they look at a little bit of gameplay, they're just going to automatically assume, and I'm not judging these people, I would too, if I wasn't a Resident Evil fan and I didn't play Resident Evil 7, you know, so I'm not judging these people, but, you know, they would look at the Baker family and say, okay, these are the main villains of the game, these are the bad guys, these are evil, you know, they're crazy, they're, you know, hillbilly, crazy Texas Chainsaw Massacre type family. But it is much, much deeper than that, because as you saw there, you saw a little bit of it. As soon as this young girl showed up in the house, that is when everything changed. That's when a loving, caring father was drowning his own wife and mutilating himself with a knife. Your, just as loving and caring mother, is basically how can you describe it? Well, she all of a sudden she decides to breed out insects from her mouth and tries to attack you. So things get very strange the second that this young girl shows up, and the reason for that is the main villain. Well, I get that in a second, not the main villain, but the cause of all of this craziness is from a biological weapon, a very advanced biological weapon. A biological weapon called Evelyn, part of the E001 series of test subjects for this advanced biological weapon. The purpose, I should start off with the purpose. The purpose of this biological weapon, was to annihilate as many enemies on the battlefield as much as possible without direct contact. Okay, that was the goal of the biological weapon. What makes the biological weapon unique is it can turn an enemy into an ally, greatly reducing, the cost and, I suppose, effort of, physical contact between the enemy. And it also reduces the effort and cost of, POW, prisoner of war. So you don't have to, physically capture the enemy, make them a prisoner, keep them locked up. Because, as I said, this biological weapon has the ability to turn an enemy into an ally. And how it does that is through the actual biological weapon and what it is. What the biological weapon is a very advanced form of fungus or mold. And this fungus, this mold, well, when it infects a human, it causes the human host will start experiencing hallucinations. They'll start seeing things and hearing things, and it just really gets into their head first. It messes with their head. And then these voices start telling them to do things to themselves and to other people, including mutilation, murder, and all sorts of fucked up things. And at this stage, the host's mind is completely traumatized and completely broken down, that the infection has complete control over the host's mind and body. And that is how, an enemy can be turned into an ally. And that's how, I suppose at this point I should point out should go into detail more into what the biological weapon actually, how it's created. So this advanced form of fungus is the genome of this fungus is injected into a human embryo, therefore giving birth to a human fungus hybrid, which is essentially the biological weapon. And it is made to look like a 10-year-old girl, so the biological weapon can blend into urban environments, urban war environments. So the weapon will just be there. It will slowly affect people, enemies, and one after the other, and it just like one of the characteristics of the biological weapon Evelyn is she has this obsession of family, probably because of the fact that she was created in a lab. She would have felt isolated, because remember, she's a human after all. She was created using a human embryo, so she had this need and desire for a family. So she and makes them their family. So if she infects a woman, she makes that woman be her mother. But she doesn't just stop at one. She's very picky, so she'll ask for another and another and another, and for a father and for a brother and for a sister. You get me? So she keeps wanting this big massive family. So that's kind of helps, I suppose, with the effectiveness of the biological weapon, because she will infect anyone and everyone, and she'll get them to do things as well, kill or whatever else. She'll have complete control. So that's one of the characteristics. What makes it a weaponized biological weapon as opposed to just gaining control over the enemy? What makes it a weaponized biological weapon is the biological weapon, Evelyn, is able to produce actual living organisms, very powerful organisms, life forms basically, in the form of the mold. So not only can she infect them with the mold, but she can not only can she infect humans with the mold, but she can create these mold-like organisms, which are very powerful and are just very vicious, and they will just kill. Now, this is Resident Evil we are talking about here, so it's not meant to sound realistic or anything like that. Oh, I just got another viewer just as I was very far into explaining the biological weapon of Resident Evil 7. I gave up playing the game because I was playing the Daughters DLC, and I messed up. I was meant to get an item early on in the game, but I forgot to get it, so I didn't want to start it again. So I just decided to I decided to do a little bit of story time. Story time Resident Evil 7 edition, and I was just talking about the biological weapon. So I suppose in summary, what I'm basically saying is the Baker family are not the villains of the game. They're not the bad guys. They're not evil. They're not crazy. Okay, they're not bad people. They're human beings who have been infected by an advanced biological weapon. Biological weapon designed to look like a 10-year-old girl, so she can fit into urban populations. She's heavily disguised as a result of that. If you think back to the original Resident Evil games, like Resident Evil 1, for instance, right, the very first Resident Evil game, it's very easy to identify the T virus. As in, what I'm saying is, it's a virus, so it's gonna, oh God, what am I saying? I don't know really. It's just easier to identify the T virus than what it is to identify Evelyn. The E001 series of biological weapons, because it is essentially, as far as you are concerned, you're looking back at a 10-year-old girl. So in the case of the Baker family, and as I said, they're not crazy, they're not insane, they've been infected. So in the case of the Baker family, they're looking back at a 10-year-old girl. They're not looking back at a biological weapon in their mind. But the second that this biological weapon comes into contact with the Baker family, she doesn't waste time in infecting the family. And as I was saying earlier, she does that by releasing a very advanced form of fungus. And once that fungus enters the human body, it slowly begins to have complete control over the host's mind and body, starting off by hallucinations and songs, and then it gets them to start doing things to themselves and to other people, and once that's done, and I'm talking now about, like, you know, cutting themselves and harming other people, and once that's done, then the host's mind is completely traumatized, completely broken down, and it is at that point then that the biological weapon has complete control over the host. This is why, you know, when you see Resident Evil 7, that's why you see the main character, the main character's wife, Mia Winters, acting very strange, and how even in the daughter's DLC, you kind of see Margaret Baker kind of trying to fight, the control of the biological weapon. And the whole point of this biological weapon is to take out as many enemies on the battlefield as possible without direct contact, because you wouldn't really need direct contact. You wouldn't really need to have like an army, in the trenches, having physical contact with the enemy. You could just have this biological weapon blended in with the urban population, because obviously it would only work better but you could just do a thing where, like, release Evelyn, on the battlefield. The enemy thinks, this, child is lost or something. Let's bring her out. And once that human is infected, then that human will go back to their enemy and start infecting them, and vice versa. And obviously, because of the control aspect of the biological weapon, it also means that enemies can become allies, which means largely reduces the cost and effort of POW, prisoner of war, as well. So as you can see, it is a very advanced biological weapon, far more advanced than the T-virus. The T-virus was created to create powerful biological weapons, like even the Tyrant virus was to create this like superhuman, and to use on the battlefield. But that was flawed, because for many reasons, really. I mean, the T-virus wasn't complete to begin with, and the side effects of the T-virus was, bringing the dead back to life, and they were just zombies. You can't control a zombie on the battlefield. It do a lot of damage, but you can't control that, can you? Happens if the allies get infected, So the T-virus is a very premature type virus compared to, premature biological weapon compared to the Evelyn biological weapon. I'm fascinated with the mythology of Resident Evil 7, just the story. I'm just obsessed, to be honest with you. So that, I suppose, is enough to say really about the biological weapon that is Evelyn. But I really am looking forward to the DLC, though. More than anything, I'm looking forward to the Not a Hero DLC, because I said this in the very start of the stream, why in the name of God Why in the name of God, how in the name of God, is Chris Redfield working for the Umbrella Corporation? Like, I know it's this new form of Umbrella Corporation. It's a blue umbrella. But I'm just the only theory that I can come up with. I'm going to turn this into a theory video now, but what time is it? I still have to head out. I have to, like, but I want to. The only theory I have as to why Chris Redfield, at the end of Resident Evil 7, flew off on a helicopter with a big logo saying the Umbrella Corporation is because he set up the Umbrella Corporation. He set up this new Umbrella Corporation. And I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's, this sinister, pharmaceutical company. Because why else would he be saving Ethan Winters, and why else would he be, if you look at the latest trailer, why else would he be going after Lucas Baker? And, he's obviously a good guy, and he's obviously not bad. Like, and the Umbrella Corporation is obviously not the same Umbrella Corporation that was in Resident Evil 1. Like, I'm still surprised and everything else, but the only theory that I can possibly have is that he set it up. And the reason he set it up is because if you look at Chris Redfield, like, if you look at the lore, the lore of Resident Evil, okay, go back to the very beginning. Like, Chris Redfield was a man in his 20s. He was a young man. He was a former pilot, I think, for the Marines, or in the military. Let's just narrow it down to that, because I can't remember what exactly it was. But he was a pilot anyway. He was also a fantastic marksman. Like, he was fantastic with weapons. So obviously you can see why he was recruited for STARS, the Special Tactics and Rescue Squad, in Raccoon City. And he was obviously sent in to investigate the bizarre murder cases in Raccoon City that led to, the discovery of what Umbrella were actually doing in the lab underground in this mansion, because, but I forgot to mention there's a mansion in the Raccoon Forest as well. So these bizarre murders were actually the result of a failed experimental biological weapon called the T-virus, which altered the DNA of a living creature. In the case of humans, it turned them into zombies, the living dead. In animals, it resulted in them kind of mutating and getting stronger and whatever else. And the Umbrella Corporation wanted to create these biological weapons anyway, as a result of the T-virus. But the T-virus leaked. It infected some of the civilians of the Raccoon City, and they turned into zombies, and they were eating each other, and there was people being killed in the Raccoon Forest. So that's why STARS were sent in to investigate. So by the end of Resident Evil 1, Chris Redfield, this young man who was a proud member of the STARS division of the Raccoon City Police Department, by the end of that night, he has to see his teammates and friends being mutilated by these biological weapons. At the time, he didn't know what they were, but biological weapons they were. Not only that, just imagine that for a second. You're looking back at your friend's decapitated head. I'm sorry for being so graphic now, okay, but just to put things into context. Imagine you're Chris Redfield, you're a young man in your 20s, proud member of the STARS Raccoon City Police Department, STARS division, and you're looking back at your decapitated friend. You're watching your friend being eaten by these monsters. And to make matters worse, your boss, essentially, the captain of your team, turns out to be working for the very company responsible for all of this. And it was actually his mission to lure in the STARS division into the mansion to test them for the biological weapons. So they were test subjects, and they were also ordered to, dispose of the Stars thing because they were, you know, they were sticking their nose in Umbrella's business. So it was Umbrella that, by the way, that this corporation is called Umbrella. Wesker was working for this corporation, and he was ordered by Umbrella to lure in the Stars, gather combat data, kill off Stars, and blow up the mansion, getting rid of all evidence. So the Umbrella Corporation was responsible for all of this. Umbrella had Claire Redfield's sister imprisoned in Paris while she was looking for Chris, because Chris was investigating the Umbrella headquarters in Paris. And Wesker slapped his sister Claire Redfield right in the face as well. So, you know, you mess with somebody's family, like I said, things get personal. Eventually Umbrella was the cause of the entire destruction of Raccoon City, the city in which Chris Redfield lived in. So I'm pretty sure he must have had family staying there. But he mightn't have had family staying there, but he definitely had friends. An entire city completely destroyed by the Umbrella Corporation, essentially. So, with all that said, like, the Umbrella Corporation has pretty much defined this man's life. Because he was a young man in his 20s. His life was just beginning when he joined Stars. So, you gotta say to yourself, this guy's life was defined by the Umbrella Corporation. And since then he's fought off multiple bioterrorist incidents because, you know, with the fall of the Umbrella Corporation, their viruses, you know, came into the hands of bioterrorists. So that's where bioterrorism really began, because the sole purpose and intention of the Umbrella Corporation and their research in, you know, biological weapon was obviously for, you know, biological warfare. So you kind of see that happening in later Resident Evil games, like Resident Evil, you know, 5 and, well, only Resident Evil 5 and 6. But there's also the Umbrella Chronicles and Umbrella Darkside Chronicles and a couple of other of the animated movies as well. You saw that, you know, bioterrorism aspect. So I think I'm making this a very drawn out video, aren't I? Oh my god. But I think that the corporation that has defined Chris Redfield's life, I think he's just going to make, like, maybe a division. I don't know, not a division, but maybe he rebranded the BSSA, you know, into the Umbrella Corporation. Maybe he renamed it. Because maybe he feels that the Umbrella Corporation is a name that's just so symbolic for Chris Redfield. And maybe it doesn't stop at Chris Redfield. Maybe this will be the beginning of the next Resident Evil game. Maybe the surviving members. Sorry, not the surviving members, but maybe the main heroes of the Resident Evil series. Like, you're talking Claire Redfield, Leon Kennedy, Jill Valentine, Barry Burton. Like, maybe these guys all came together and established the Umbrella Corporation, because the Umbrella Corporation has had a massive impact on all of these people's lives. Barry Burton, more than anyone else, actually. More than anyone else. I don't think anybody has been affected by the Umbrella Corporation as much as Barry Burton, because Barry Burton, Wesker threatened Barry Burton. He said that, you know, it actually wasn't the Umbrella Corporation, but nonetheless, Wesker tricked Barry into thinking that the Umbrella Corporation had his family hostage, and that if he didn't help Wesker with his plans, you know, that he'd never again see his family. But, you know, like, it was still Umbrella in essence, like, kind of a thing. Claire Redfield got to see the most sinister side of the Umbrella Corporation. You know, when she met the Ashford twins. Like, it just got so more sinister. I don't know, I just think all of these characters, like Leon Kennedy, Jesus Christ, his first day on the job of being a Raccoon City police officer. That day became the day where Raccoon City got completely infected by the T-virus as a result of the Umbrella Corporation. Who else now? I don't know, like Jill Valentine watching the entire city explode, you know, as a result of the Umbrella Corporation. I just think, I don't know, what is my argument really? What am I trying to, the argument, what I'm trying to get across here is, all of these characters' lives have been transformed by the Umbrella Corporation. Now, you might think to yourself, why would they wait now? Why now? But maybe it just, I don't know why now, really. I don't know, my theory is kind of fucked up, like, but, like, maybe they're going to use the Umbrella Corporation, like, maybe the Umbrella Corporation had ideologies that were actually, that maybe Chris Redfield saw something in the Umbrella Corporation that kind of makes sense. I don't know. I have no idea actually. Maybe Evelyn was intended on actually being a good biological weapon. You know, so tough. But yeah, I'm obviously, you know, hyped for this DLC, so I can't shut the hell up talking about it. But my God Almighty, I just do these weird, like, random streams, like, and I don't think about them. Some streams I think about them. I say, okay, I'm going to play this game now. I'm going to play it for so long. This is what I'm going to do, and it's, you know, everything is structured, and it goes quite well. And then there's times where I just say to myself, I'll do a stream, and I don't think about it. Like, I'll do a stream, you know, put on the headphones, pick a random game, and like, I'll do a stream, and it's like, you know, you go live, and it's like, okay, then I just talk, you know, and God only knows what the hell is going to come out like, and this has been happening for the last hour, I think, actually. But I'm going to have to head out now, because I did say that I was going to head out much earlier than this, but here we go. So, that has been my extremely long discussion of Resident Evil 7. I think I'll stop talking now, and hopefully in the next stream there'll be less talking and more gaming. I'm going to make that my motto now for the rest of the year, even though there's not much of the year left, but nonetheless. Less talking, more gaming. I like that. My fucking motto now. I'm going to get a t-shirt printed that's going to say less talking, more gaming. So next time somebody keeps talking to me, I'm just going to say less talking, more gaming. Donald Trump on fucking TV. Less talking, more gaming. That's my motto. Okay, so with that said, less talking, more gaming. Goodbye. Fuck's sake, like. The broadcast has been stopped. What the fuck? I'm back.